What's going on, everybody? I'm John Anthony. This is the No Mercy Prediction Show, as always, with Chair Shot Sports, a proud Sport Point affiliate. And as always, 24/7, 365, including leap year, powered by Zoa Energy. Thank you so much for joining us. We are just mere hours away from No Mercy. This card is, in my opinion, pretty stacked for what WWE has put out on PLEs past couple months. Leaving a little bit to be desired, but NXT, as always, slaps. They bring it, and this card is no different. Lots of title matches, lots of stipulation matches that are awesome to see. A lot of endings. I think a lot of us are excited to find out what's going to happen. So let's jump right into this. Obviously, like I said, a lot of title matches. Let's start kind of at the bottom, I guess. Some singles grudge matches. We have Josh Briggs, Javon Evans facing off against each other. These two guys, um, each one kind of needs this win. Now, if you watched TNA, if you saw Victory Road, you know Javon Evans has himself an X Division Championship match at Bound for Glory in just a couple weeks over at Lowell, Mass. So excited to be there. So happy that history's going to be made in that place. Dudley's, Hardy's, Hall of Fame inductions for TNA. So exciting. But aside from that, that's actually kind of a telltale thing for me. When I talked about the predictions for these shows, and we talked about TNA, these shows are going to go 1 and 1A, left and right, going to go hand in hand as to what happens moving into Friday and Saturday. So, with that being said, out of the two, Javon Evans, obviously, my man can go out there and lose probably 10 in a row, maybe 11 if you really push it, and still come out, be your boy bouncy, still get over with the crowd, still get that pop, still be the guy everyone wants to be. But Josh Briggs, I've said it before. I said it for, Jesus, it's got to be over a month now. My man cuts promos. He cuts through the noise, no matter what that crowd chants in NXT, no matter what they chant at PLE. My man just keeps going, doesn't miss a step. It doesn't matter to him. He keeps going. It's amazing. I think he's building on that. Thus, if you saw the promos this past Tuesday night, Josh is telling you he doesn't need you. He is not a fan favorite. He doesn't give a damn about the fan, and he's going to rise above that. Obviously, in two very fan favorite tag teams, both broke up. Both he had to push away because he found that those folks are holding him back. Josh Briggs, I've talked about it on the NXT Rewind with Mike from the Mob Squad. That's my boy. I'm not saying maybe the new Undertaker, but definitely a new big boy, new big man, maybe a JBL, um, a big guy that can really take the division mid card definitely by the throat and make his way up to being a heavyweight champion. It might not happen in NXT, it might not be in the cards, but he can definitely mow his way through and mow a lot of people down. I would love to see him take Oba down and take that title. I don't think that's going to happen. However, I think when the draft comes, I think Briggs gets called up to Raw or SmackDown. I think he's proved his worth. He showed what he can do on the mic, in the ring, and he's gotten 110% better in the past probably 3 to 4 months after kind of wrestling big, understanding his size, understanding what he can be as that heel that doesn't care what you think, but is still going to go out there. He did make a lot of good points on Tuesday night. You boo him, but at the end, you're definitely chanting that this is NXT. The holy shit, this is awesome at the end of his matches. So Briggs can go out there and he can deliver 110%. So with that being said, obviously Evans is a great opportunity in a couple weeks at Bound for Glory. I think this is where Josh really puts down one of your big favorites. And I'm sure it is the underdog, quote unquote, in this match at No Mercy tonight. Josh Briggs gets the win, solidifies himself as a top heel, gets major heat for putting Evans down. Maybe he wins with some nefarious tactics. I don't know, but wins 1, 2, 3. Josh Briggs moves on, and hopefully, we'll talk about the Oba Saints match in a little bit. But whatever happens out of that match, maybe Briggs' next step is the NXT Men's World Title. Staying obviously in the singles realm, but moving over to the young ladies, Jordan Grace, Blake Monroe, in a weaponized steel cage match. This is right up the alley of what I wanted to see with Monroe, feeding into the glamour gimmick. I think it's going to be bloody. It's going to be nasty. A lot of people have said that Blake isn't going to flourish here because obviously NXT and WWE are a little bit more of a family friendly product. There is some blood. They do some weapon stuff, but it's not to the effect of what you would see at AEW, which is what we saw with Tony um, and Monroe back when she was wrestling over there, or Mariah May, whatever you want to call her, when she was over there. But I don't think Jordan Grace has a problem with putting someone like Monroe over. Obviously, someone's come from another company. Grace coming from TNA, Blake Monroe coming from AEW. This is going to be a show up and show out match, more so of a debut kind of not debut match, but kind of a coming out match, if you will, for Blake. I think it's going to be nasty. It's going to be gritty. It's going to be dirty on both sides. I think Jordan Grace, she has that mean streak. She's going to do a lot of things. I think you're going to see a lot more moves. We might see some tacks. Might get wild. We might get. This is the closest we might get to something AEW on a WWE screen. I'm excited for it. It's going to be happy. It's going to be happening. I'm excited. Um, but I think Blake Monroe gets this win here. This is the coming out. We've been saying it over and over and over again. When is Jordan get the call up? When is Grace going up? I don't know if that time is yet. I don't know if it's the week after, next week after that. Maybe we will stand deliver. Maybe we get to WrestleMania. Maybe it's the Royal Rumble. Um, I don't know. But I think Jordan does the job here. Blake Monroe needs that debut welcome in kind of match. And I think both girls are going to beat the hell out of each other. But I think Monroe is going to take it that one step farther, which she's learned in AEW. She knows what it takes. Her and Tony, uh, the Hollywood ending, everything, amazing, amazing stuff. I think she brings that to NXT and she brings it to No Mercy later on tonight, and we get that win. And Blake Monroe walks out of there. You're a winner in the weaponized steel cage match. Now let's talk championships. JC Jane, Lola Vice for the NXT Women's Championship. WWE can really do something cool right here. Again, I'm not one for feeding into the hometown girl, the hometown person, the hometown guy, and letting him get that title. Actually, VKM was the opposite. If you were in your hometown, 9 times out of 10, you were getting your ass kicked, you were taken down, you were ending your night looking up at the lights. All right. So this is a great, great place where I think, and again, nothing against JC Jane. Obviously, just dropped Jasmine. Her contract expired, so now it's just a 2-woman crew. JC's down one. Who's to say someone takes out, her team? It's literally just Lola. It's just JC. Lola, I think, has paid the dues. She really has. She's been in title matches. She's taken L's. She's taken losses. Been in triple threats. I mean, I was there at Heatwave when she lost that match as well. Plenty of times on NXT on Tuesdays. But the time, I think, has come, and I think JC can afford to, especially what happened on Victory Road. We see Kalani Jordy walking around with now the TNA Knockouts Championship. Let's start switching things up. Not to get into a lot of crazy stuff that I was talking about the other night on NXT Rewind, but there's definitely a shift coming. Something big is coming at BFG, for Glory, for those who don't know. I think it's a TV deal. Kalani getting that belt. I know they still talk about her being from NXT. She's obviously going to make a transition to TNA. Someone like JC Jane, I think, makes their way over to TNA television. Lola gets that win. She has that belt, and now opens it up for the rest of the girls. And a lot of new matches, a lot of new rivalries with Vice having that belt. So not a lot of surprises. A lot of times NXT pay-per-views come, and I'm like, man, the mind gets going, and I'm like, there's a lot of cool things they could do, a lot of great ways they could go with this, avenues and roads, and what happens if this is that, and it ends up being all the champions retained, and maybe in the singles matches they throw a hiccup here and there. But it's predictable down the road if nobody really loses that belt. Obviously, Halloween Havoc is down the road for NXT. BFG, it seems like, is going to be a more collaborative effort, which I talked about on Tuesday. So, out of everybody that has a belt, and not talking about the Speed Championship, I think this is the one match I can sit here and tell you confidently this is where you see a change. Lola Vice walks out of No Mercy, your new NXT Women's Champion. Sticking with the women, Sol Ruka and Laney for the Speed Championship. Again, something else that me and the cohorts have always talked about week after week after week with Zarya and Sol. When is it going to happen? Who's going to cost who? When is she finally going to cost Sol a championship? It's always been the North American, not the Speed. This is the time, I think, we do this. We get down to one belt, but it's also a time to grow, Laney, and grow another talent. Sol can afford to not have that belt on her. She's the women's North American champion, which she has defended in a hot minute. Walking around with 2 belts is cool, but you definitely want to be defending your belt. So, with that being said, I think Zarya, some way, shape, or form, costs Sol the match, whether it's an accidental spear, an accidental interference, doing something wild that she does not mean to do. Sol looking at her, cost of the belt, but I think we walk out of there a new women's Speed champion. And again, it's not going to hurt Sol Ruka. Sol Ruka is still the women's North American champion, and that's fine. She goes on Halloween Havoc and defends it there. Probably against Zarya if she tosses her that match. It's Zarya and Sol Ruka for the women's North American at Halloween Havoc. Maybe we push something down the road closer to Royal Rumble. I don't know, but I think this is finally the time. It's one of those things where we keep talking about it. We keep talking about it. We keep talking about it. And I think this is finally coming to fruition. I think we see a lot of storylines here and there where we're waiting and waiting and waiting. And now we finally start seeing the fruits of building it for so long with them accidentally interfering. Oh, she stops. Doesn't do it. Um, for me, the Soul Snatcher, that this last match, sorry, it inadvertently gets her lick back on Soul and they cost her the belt, thus having a new Speed champion. And I'm fine with that. Listen, I'm pumped that the men's and the women's Speed championships are going to be over in NXT. It's going to be interesting when we start talking about the men's. I know we're focusing on the women's right now, but hopefully the men's has some kind of gauntlet match or some kind of qualifier moving into Halloween Havoc. But yeah, so unfortunately, is going to drop that belt on a little later tonight, but she's going to be perfectly fine. Still walking out here, women's North American champion, and probably defending that at Halloween Havoc, moving on, obviously, into 2026 as well. Before we get into our main event, obviously, we want to still stick with the men. We want to go back to championships. Ethan Page, Tavion Heights, the men's North American championship. Ethan Page has been a wonder. It almost to a fault feels like he's doing NXT a favor by staying in NXT. Ethan can go to WWE, he can go to Mondays, he can go to Fridays and be a star and automatically insert himself into the mid card for either the Intercontinental Championship or the US title. Have him pop out an open challenge against Sami Zayn. Mind blown. Maybe Ethan loses on Saturday and maybe he pops out on next Friday. Maybe he wants to challenge Sami Zayn for the US title in an open challenge. Who knows? I don't know. What I can tell you is Ethan is not losing that belt tonight. Tavion, again, great talent. One of those wrong place, wrong time where you're just kind of breaking out of the group. You're starting to hit it, getting your stride, starting to come to a head. I just don't see Page dropping the belt just yet. We're definitely almost there. It's coming, whether it be Halloween Havoc, maybe we get some kind of NXT PLE with the Royal Rumble, something like that going on. I just don't think it's time yet. So I think Ricky walks out of there, he retains. I'm sorry, Ethan. Is there some nefarious things from Ethan? Maybe. Could be. That's kind of how Ethan gets down. But it will be interesting to see what goes down. But I will tell you that Page is going to be the man with his hand raised, walking out, still your men's North American champion. So with that being said, we've covered all the other matches. The match of the night is Obafemi, Ricky Saints the men's NXT title, man. Um, damn, this match is going to slap. It's going to deliver. It's going to give you everything you want in a main event, especially of one at No Mercy. Um, I did have some thoughts and some feelings that maybe does Trick get involved and cost Oba the belt, and that kind of gives it over to Ricky. And me and Mike have talked about this on Tuesday nights on the Rewind. If Oba loses the belt, like what's left in NXT? We're not going to have him downgrade to the men's North American. Maybe you go into a feud with whoever beats you. I mean, or costs you. So maybe Trick interferes. Maybe he goes down and costs Trick at Bound for Glory. These two have one last run going to the end of the year before both get called up. Maybe one goes to Raw, one goes to SmackDown. That would be kind of cool. Obviously, the Rumble is literally 3 months away. It's right around the corner. A lot of things could happen. This is a very fun time of year, seeing who wins, who loses, what the storylines look like, and who obviously down the horizon is going to get that call up to be in the 30-man, which obviously is over in Saudi. Where's it, Riyadh? Either one, wherever it is. It's not here. It's overseas. So that means Royal Rumble is going to be on at like 11 a.m. So get ready. I just don't think, and again, the interference piece of it, I'm here for interference when it makes sense in the storyline. So is it someone from TNA? Is there somebody doing like what's going on? Ricky, by all way, shape, and form, by any stretch of the imagination, especially what we saw this past Tuesday, there's chaos everywhere on NXT. It's NXT versus TNA. Saints doesn't give a damn. He walks right up to that belt and grabs, obviously, Oba, rises up. He snatches it from him. He holds it over his head, and he's like, hey, listen, no, we're not done. I'm not done yet, bud. I'm not going anywhere. So those two going off is going to be an amazing match. Great stuff later on tonight. So I'm here for it. I'm excited. This card is going to be fun, guys. I mean, there's a lot of times it's very predictable. A lot of these you can kind of guess, okay, either way, but I like how they have the grudge matches for the singles and the men's and the women's with Briggs and Evans, obviously with Monroe and Jordan Grace. So it's going to be good to see. I'm excited for it. I think it's going to bring a lot of surprises. I think we might see some TNA talent after what we saw over on Victory Road last night. So get excited. It's going to be fun. So with all that being said, I appreciate you tuning in. Obviously, No Mercy is going to be phenomenal. If you haven't caught us already, every Monday you can catch me with Lady Alpha from the Divas podcast doing the Raw Rundown. Tuesdays is a Two Stooges collaboration with my man Mike from the Mob Squad doing the NXT Rewind. Thursdays, everything talking TNA all the time, every week. Fridays, we have the SmackDown Shakedown. Obviously, Saturday, Sundays, we're here talking about prediction shows, post shows, you name it. And for those that are a little bit like to have a little fun, like do a little betting on the side with some football, we also have our Drive to the Bank show that comes out every Saturday, giving you all the picks on the money line, and also our underdog parlay where you can win just $25, win yourselves a lot of cash. So with that being said, to catch any of those shows I talked about, do us a favor, hit the subscribe button, ring that bell, and for anything else I can ask of you, the one thing you can do if you like everything we're talking about, what we're saying, hit that thumbs up button. It helps myself, everyone else in the Chair Shot Media group. Gets us out to everybody who might not be subscribed, but puts us out there into the algorithm and gets a lot of people acquainted with what we do. So I appreciate that more than any of you will ever know. So I appreciate that. With that being said, guys, I'm John Anthony. This has been the NXT No Mercy Prediction Show. Grab your popcorn, grab a cold beverage, because tonight's going to be awesome. Where everybody in NXT and maybe TNA shows No Mercy.